Okay, we'll go ahead and get started then today. I'm Sabrina Alley. I'm the Director of Communications and Community Engagement for the Department of Housing Stability. And so we'll just start this morning off with the welcome and our agenda. Sorry, we're starting a little bit late because of technical difficulties, but we'll go ahead and get started. And I'll let Jenny lead with our land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Sabrina. The Denver Housing Stability Strategic Advisors honors and acknowledges that the land on which we reside is the traditional territory of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. We honor elders past, present, and future, and those who have stewarded this land throughout generations. We also recognize that government, academic, and cultural institutions were founded upon and continue to enact exclusions and erasures of Indigenous peoples. May this acknowledgement demonstrate a commitment to work to dismantle ongoing legacies of oppression and inequalities and recognize the current and future contributions of Indigenous communities in Denver. Thank you, everybody. We're going to do a roll call next. So we have good news. We have reappointments and new appointments to the strategic advisors. I know that City Council has reappointed Jamie Reif for another term, although that may change, I suppose. And do we know, is Mark Marshall also technically reappointed? Yay, Mark. Okay, so the mayor has reappointed and appointed Quica Montoya, myself, Jenny Rogers, Myra Gonzalez, Thomas Allen, Josiah Geprel, Kristen Toombs, Melanie Lewis Dickerson, Randy Kilborn, Mark Marshall, and Jamie. So thank you and congratulations, everybody. Thanks for being on the Strategic Advisors. Next, we are going to move to approve our minutes from September 15th. So if I can have someone who has a motion to approve the minutes.
Jenny, can we do an official roll call just so?
I'm sorry. Yes,
on this,
right.
I'm not clear. I can't see everybody who's on, so I just want to
make
sure.
Okay, sorry about that. I got so excited about reappointments, I forgot about the roll call itself. Okay, so Quica, are you here?
She was unable to attend today.
Okay, I'm here. Myra?
Present.
Great. Thomas? Okay. Joshua, sorry. Josh?
Josh had a conflict today as well.
Kristen? Melanie?
I'm here.
Great. Randy? Mark? You're here.
Present.
Jamie?
Here.
Do we have a quorum?
We do have a quorum. Thank you.
Okay. Now move to approve the minutes. Sorry about that. Okay. Do we have someone who moves to approve the September 15th meeting minutes of the Strategic Advisors, which everyone was provided by email the other day?
I'll move to approve the minutes. It's Melanie.
Great. Thank you, Melanie. Do we have a second?
Second. Mark.
Great, Mark. Okay. All those who move to approve the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, we've approved the minutes. All right, so this is our time for the public to provide any public comment to the strategic advisors that you would like. So if anyone would like to make comment, you can come off mute. You can state your first and last name, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have anybody who would like to provide public comment today? Okay, looks like we can move on to welcoming our new host executive director. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jenny. And it's good to be here with you all this morning. For folks who may be watching, Jennifer Bice, Interim Executive Director of the Department of Housing Stability. And I have the great honor today to welcome Jamie from Housing Stability Strategic Advisor and wonderful community partner to the role of forthcoming Executive Director of the Department of Housing Stability starting on January 2nd. So just want to take this moment and kick off with so much gratitude and excitement. As this group well knows, Jamie is such a wonderful and thoughtful partner on housing and homelessness issues across our whole region, brings such a wealth of ability to engage with stakeholders and community and really drive the work from that perspective of what works and leading with the people we do this work for. And so we could not be more happy and excited to welcome.
And it sounds like the guys are gonna, sorry.
Sounds like we need to have everybody mute.
Yep, I got it. I'm gonna mute people if they come off accidentally. Thanks.
Good. But yeah, could not be more happy and excited to welcome Jamie officially as our Executive Director on January 2nd. I'm sure it will be very much drinking from the fire hose, hitting the ground running, whatever similes and metaphors we want to put toward that. But for today, grateful to have you here for your last HSSA meeting in this capacity. And everybody will get to see your face on these calls with a new hat on next time we come together. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. And I am so excited to be working with this group in this new capacity and just to be stepping into this role. I'm really deeply humbled that I was chosen for this and to work with such an amazing team that we have at Host. I've always been such an outside admirer of everything that they do. And then coming to this group and seeing the amount of expertise and the wealth of knowledge that this group has, I look forward to being able to work with you to figure out how do we create solutions for people experiencing homelessness and housing stability, just because there is so much rich knowledge in this room. So just really excited to be working with you. Jennifer, thank you for those kind words. And thank you for all you're doing and everything your team is doing right now. I just want to give credit where credit is due and say this team has been sprinting for what feels like years, but particularly this last 6 months has been just from the outside, it seems like you all have had to just do so much. And Jennifer, thank you for stepping into this role and the grace and with which you have been leading the organization. I've just always admired you so much in your team, and thank you for everything that you're doing right now, because it is such a hard time. And I just want to acknowledge that. And yeah, I look forward to joining you and supporting this work and all of you. So thank you.
Thank you. We're all excited to start to get to work with you from the advisor's standpoint, and excited to start the new year with you. So it's time right now for our advisors round robin. This is a time for our advisors to provide any updates from your own communities, from your own work that would inform the host staff. So there isn't any formal order that we need to go in, but I think Quika, did you join? Did I see? No.
Kristen Toombs, I just
Kristen,
joined.
great.
Hi. Yes.
Do you have any updates you want to provide?
Hi, everybody. So I'm sure I do, right? Kristen Toombs, Director of the Office of Homeless Initiatives at the State of Colorado's Department of Local Affairs, Division of Housing, she, her, hers. Happy Friday in December. So yes, we've got lots going on. So we have been busy with our THOR, Transformational Homelessness Response Grants, and our Prop 123. So basically we have lots of grants that we've been making, which are great. And I think folks have been experiencing that the CARES Act funds, have been winding down, and the ARPA money is short term. So we're just working a lot on that. We made the Navigation Campus Awards, so we're working closely with each partner, including Denver, on getting those contracts done. So I'm sure there is so much more that we could share. Others who are doing this work with us, what do you think would be helpful for folks to know from the state side?
Anyone have questions for Kristen? All right. We're a silent bunch today.
I guess I could, well, I don't
ahead, Mark.
think Kristen would know this. I've heard some good news here that the funds are deals are getting funded much more quickly now. And just wanted to hear your perspective on the direction that's headed with the Prop 123 dollars getting out the door.
Sure. Thank you for that question. So I think what you're referring to is that, several months ago, Division of Housing dedicated some time from our development team. So that's a team that gives grants to develop and build. So folks can build their affordable housing and supportive housing projects. And shortly after that, the governor also did an executive order saying, hey, we recognize that we need to get the funds out there faster, our contracts done. So, time is money. And if we want to have affordable projects, we need to help them go faster. So yes, we are, we just were going over that yesterday. We have goals set for various parts of the process. And so things are happening faster. I'm glad you're hearing that. We've been able to get through some of the negotiations and months long for certain projects, and that queue has gone down drastically. And simultaneously, we're working on just in general, how do we improve our processes so that everybody is set up for success and to cross that finish line faster. So what does that mean? That means our application process and the process that we take to present grant recommendations or loan recommendations to our state housing board. We are adjusting some of those processes. So basically all parties have all of the requirements and details we need for those contracts done earlier, so that once we do make those awards, we have less that needs to be done and we can have those faster. Those details are still getting worked out. Andrew Paredes on our team would be the best person to talk to if you have specific thoughts or updates or you just want the latest. But the thinking is, how do we, instead of asking for many of those details after you've gotten the award, how can we ask for those more upfront so that, again, we don't spend time spinning wheels after an award has been made. In addition to that, we've built out, so, getting through the queue of ones that have taken months to negotiate or just the process, streamlining our processes moving forward. And then the other piece is building out capacity. So like many of us, having great staff is key and is a challenge. So we've been adding and excited that we've been able to build out our staffing in all of our offices and our contracting team. So with more people able to focus, we can crank through these faster. And so we've been able to build out that capacity too. Again, if you want specifics on like what are those goals and how are we doing with those, I can either come back and share those in our next HASA meeting, or Andrew Paredes would be a good person to talk to, and I can put his email in the chat.
Thanks, Kristen. Anybody else have questions? Oh, Mark, do you have more?
Oh, no, I was just thanking Kristen. Yeah, thanks. And I think the group would enjoy seeing some of the goals here, and probably will be reaching out to Andrew anyway, but thank you. Appreciate the update.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we can absolutely share more details. I just don't have those handy and don't want to misspeak. So we're happy to get you what you want to know. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Myra, do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, so Myra Gonzalez, I work for the Montbello Organizing Committee out in far northeast Denver. We have a particular focus on the Montbello neighborhood, and we just completed a housing action plan for our area to ensure that we're, meeting the very unique needs of the far northeast. We were able to do this action plan with homeowners, renters, adults, and also young adults. And I wanted to share some quick recommendations or findings that the community has proposed or asked asked us to advocate for. And a lot of them have to do with working between departments or across departments at the city and county of Denver. A lot of what we found that folks were asking for in order to support them, whether it's stabilization, aging in place, or even finding housing, financial literacy and education is a big component to helping them either acquire housing or be able to strengthen their ability to stay in place. There's a lot of predatory practices that occur in our community, especially around older adults, where we have different companies or businesses trying to get them to sell their homes or to take on different financing mechanisms that put them at risk for displacement, like reverse mortgages. And so there's this big push right now from our community to ensure that folks are educated around these long-term, financial mechanisms and what it can do to them, and their ability to build generational wealth. And so there's a call from our community to ask for support in that. There's also a lot of concern over folks' ability to afford basic, I don't know how to put this, but essentially in relationship to climate, a lot of our older adults and folks of low income or fixed income cannot afford to turn on their heat or their AC during extreme weather. So whether it's hot or it's way too cold, they just can't afford these services. And so we're uncovering a lot of these interconnected issues through this lens of housing. We're happy to share our findings with folks here, but there has been an ask from my community to ask for better collaboration between the departments to help service folks in communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Myra. That's really interesting. And I'm sure many of us would like to see what those findings are. I know in West Denver, and the West Denver Renaissance Collaborative was trying to head off some of the same issues with some of the same predatory products for residents out there and trying to educate residents during the pandemic. So Renee Martinez-Stone there may have some suggestions for what worked for them.
Ooh, that's a great recommendation.
Yeah. Thank you. Any questions for Myra? Kristen?
Yeah, thank you for that, Myra. I just wanted to echo that we would love to see those findings. There's an interest here at the state of that intersection between being more green and environmental impacts and equity and affordability. So if and when you can share that with this group, I can help share it with others at the state. That would be greatly appreciated. Appreciate what you've done.
Thank you. Yes, of course. We'll have a final report out probably at the end of January. So we'll have something concrete to share with folks.
Great, thank you.
And then I forgot to mention one last post or point, but it's around the HOAs, the homeowners associations. Green Valley Ranch was largely impacted by those foreclosure proceedings. And so there's a lot of concern as we enter the new year around ensuring that there's greater oversight and regulation to help folks stay in place.
Great, thank you. Let's see, I think Thomas is not here, or Josh. So Melanie, do you have any updates?
Yeah, hey everyone. I'm staying off video. I've got a sick little guy here with me, and he's giving me his cold. So y'all bear with me. But I do have an exciting update and then an interesting, I think, bit of information to share. So just as we're wrapping up the year, looking at our numbers, specifically within the regional Built for Zero effort around veteran homelessness, collectively, all the stakeholders across the region that are working together have seen a 23% reduction in veteran homelessness this year. And Jamie can correct me if I get any of these numbers wrong, but 23% reduction just within this calendar year. That's nearly a 40% reduction since January of 2020. So folks just continuing to work together. I think this is a bright spot, that we can look to where we're seeing some real impact. About 30%, if I'm getting this number right, Jamie from Sophia, about 30% of the 23% reduction this year came in Denver County. So we're seeing movement in all parts of the region, including here in Denver. And I was just looking at the numbers, and it's not quite, but nearly a difference of 100 veterans just in Denver proper. So lots of exciting progress continued there. I think a lot of commitment we're from across the region, from our state partners, parts of the state, other communities across the state as well. Also exciting work happening to really get the pieces in place around the broader data infrastructure to be able to track quality data for all populations beyond just veterans. So just hats off to Jamie and MDHI's leadership on that front. The other piece I wanted to call folks' attention to that's just been staggering to me. I've been thinking a lot about it. Folks are talking a lot about it. I think it's not news to anyone that our population is aging overall, and therefore our population of those experiencing homelessness is aging. And within the current veteran by name list, as of the beginning of this month, there were now 360 veterans experiencing homelessness across the entire region, and 191 of those are age 60 or older. So those folks have complex needs, higher levels of care needed, and different types of support and housing accommodations. And so that, I hope, is, starts to become even more and more of a conversation than it already is, as we all kind of lean in and figure out what are the different types of solutions, what could we really prove out as being a new way of approaching this within this smaller part of the population that maybe then provides some learning for the broader population.
Well, it's great to hear about the veteran homeless numbers and yeah, interesting other information. Thanks. Anybody have questions for Melanie? Other comments? Okay, Mark Marshall, you're up next.
Thank you, Jenny. We are proud to be in the hotel business now. We've been partnered with the city here, and part of Mayor Johnson's initiative, move 1,000 people indoors by the end of the year. The week after, Monday after Thanksgiving, we were able to close on the former Doubletree Hotel on 4040 North Quebec. That will provide 300 units and 450 beds for folks who have been living outside. And in addition to the 450 beds, it's also the navigation center for folks who are checking in and looking for housing options. Additionally, it has about 12,000 square feet of ballroom space, conference room space that will be used for congregate shelter here during inclement weather here. So we've had an opportunity already to put that to use. Last week, about 120 people moved in, and this week, by the end of the weekend, we're expecting to be up around 240, 250 people living indoors. So proud to be a part of the plan here and being able to participate. So, thanks.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Questions for Mark? You see lots of congratulatory hand clapping. So thank you for all that you're doing at Rocky Mountain Communities. Jamie, do you have anything you want to share?
No, nothing is happening over here, Jenny. Yeah, and Melanie, thank you for sharing all that amazing data. So some of what I was going to say, Melanie has already shared with y'all, which it's really exciting work. We have, we've split the region up into 9 subregions, and 5 of those 9 have reached quality data as of now, which is really huge for Metro Region. And the other 4, I think, will get there this year. So that's really exciting. A couple of things, just want to make sure this group is aware of. Our region recently received the Youth Homelessness Demonstration Project, which is huge news because that is recurring federal funding from HUD every year to specifically support young people that are experiencing homelessness. So right now we have a group of young people with lived expertise who are completely designing what they want to see. And then we'll be the ones reviewing the applications and making the decisions on how this funding is used. And we now have thanks to Community Solutions and some of their funders, we have a young adult, like a young YHDP fellow, excuse me, so many acronyms, YHDP fellow who's coming on board to actually, and she's currently the co-chair of our Young Adult Leadership Committee, and will be coming on board to actually run this process as a full-time and staff member on January 1st. So we're super excited about that. Next, I wanted to make sure you also knew about the All Inside initiative. Metro Denver specifically was chosen as the 7th and my understanding final city that is going to be receiving in the new year an embedded federal high-ranking staff member who is going to help remove red tape and barriers that we see at the local level. So those of you that do housing, you know, during the pandemic, we had all these amazing waivers that really helped expedite things. You may have seen in the news that LA recently asked for a waiver to get those things in place in the non-COVID times. And that is through the All Inside initiative. So we're going to be able to do things like that, clear some paths, see what we can do if we have a federal partner that's here kind of helping us identify, and then really elevating that to the correct people to see what sort of flexibilities we can get. I think the other thing that I'm kind of excited about, you know, something about data, of course, but we are going to be publishing in the new year some updated dashboards on our website where people can actually look at HMIS data and be able to like see what's going on in our HMIS system. Right now, we have a dashboard that's similar for point in time. And we are getting to a point, which I think is really exciting and a testament to our community, about getting to a point where we have valid, reliable, real-time data. And so being able to have that out for people to be able to see and see what's going on is one of the goals for MDHI in Q1 of next year, as well as some other partners as well. And my last day will be a week from today. I am going to take a little bit of time off before I jump in to supporting the work on the city side on January 2nd. But I have really appreciated this group and the people here and look forward to transitioning and seeing what we can accomplish together. So thanks, Jenny.
Thanks. Yeah, sounds like some well-deserved time off and some exciting new opportunities for us all to dig into in the new year. Thanks. So I have just a couple quick updates. Actually, as we're having this meeting today, there's a rollout and a rollout webinar being hosted by CHAFA for an electrification hub on their website, which is a project that Enterprise has been working with CHAFA on for probably about the last year. If you look up this electrification hub, you'll find a lot of resources, case studies, tools for electrifying multifamily buildings. Particularly with the first phase of this project that's focused on tax credit properties. So for those of you who are developing tax credit projects or want to know how to green some of your existing buildings, there should be some good resources up on the CHAFA website now for that. We sent a notification out about the webinar. We'll send out some notices about the website itself. It may be something that host wants to share with your partners as well. So that's really exciting. We just wrapped up a Climate Resilience Academy for many of our nonprofit partners. It was funded with some banking partner and other grant funds that we received. So we were able to provide some grant support to organizations like Rocky Mountain Communities to participate and learn how to not only keep their operations resilient, but also think about how to make sure that their buildings are resilient in the face of climate change. There's going to be some technical assistance provided to partners as part of that through Energy Outreach Colorado. So we're excited to start to really enter the green and resilient space here in Colorado and the Rocky Mountains. And along those same lines, Enterprise nationally, as well as Habitat for Humanity nationally, the United Way, Rewiring America, and LISC applied for $7 billion under the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund to help drive climate resources to households and businesses who are low income. The city of Denver signed on as a partner for that application. And we hope to hear in April if we are successful. If we are, Myra, to your point about households needing to reduce their energy costs and energy consumption, that one of the hopes of this partnership is that will reduce barriers for individual households and owners of multifamily properties to change out their energy systems and reduce energy consumption. So TBD, we hope to hear in the spring about that. I don't think I have any other updates from Enterprise. Anybody have anything else they want to share before we move on to host updates? All right, well, thanks. I'll turn it over to the host team.
Jennifer?
Great. Let me just get my notes up here. But thank you all for coming together today to talk about so many critical things. We'll talk a little bit about HOST 2024 action plan here in just a second. And so I'm gonna maybe start with House 1000, and then Sabrina, I'll have you cover some of these other pieces. But the HOST team has been working really diligently on our big citywide goal to bring 1,000 folks inside by the end of the year. As Mark acknowledged, that has meant really being innovative and expeditious in bringing new sites online, and that work has taken so many critical partners, including Rocky Mountain Communities. We're so grateful for that. We have also really been working really diligently with our service provider partners who have really stepped up and are seeking to open so many new spaces and sites. And that work is not easy to staff up quickly, to be ready to operate. And so just cannot understate the contribution of our nonprofit partners who are so critical in this work. We also, as of yesterday, put some new information on our public-facing dashboard for House 1000. And so wanted to just, it's all on the same place. So if you've seen it before, it's all in that same location. But we are at 550 people moved inside so far. And lots of big things happening in the last couple of weeks of the year. But wanted to also flag for folks that you will see some additional metrics on that page. So not only are we reporting the number of folks we've moved inside, as well as where folks have moved to. So how many people are in their own housing now? How many folks have moved into shelter locations, non-congregate or micro, no, not micro community sites quite yet, but our hotel-based shelter options. So you can see all of that still, but we've also added some new information on who is still inside, length of stay in the temporary shelter programs that we're staying, or the shelter programs that we're standing up here, as well as when people leave those programs, where are they going to? And so that has been a huge amount of work conducted by our HOST data team, specifically Anthony Rodriguez on our team, who's our lead analyst for homelessness resolution. It is incredibly complicated work to have HMIS tell that story in the really nuanced way that this is happening. And so I wanted to acknowledge that, and also to acknowledge that we're 55% of the way there already, which is really, really exciting. And so lots of good things happening in that space. And Sabrina, I'll kick it to you for the rest of our updates.
Thanks, Jennifer. I'm going to fly through these so that we can stay on track for our timing today. So we did complete our shelter purchase of the men's shelter on 48th, which is really, really exciting news. In addition to Mark's shelter purchase that he already talked about. So some lots of exciting new hotels coming online to help with the House 1000 effort, and also to continue to house those, shelter those in our congregate shelters that are already existing. We do have a number of open procurements right now. Those are all posted on our website, and just for the sake of time, I will go ahead and we'll send those out to you guys later with the details. But please do encourage your networks and your partners to check it and look at our procurements on our website. You can just go to denvergov.org/housing and then click on partner resources, and our list of procurements is there. Also just wanted to call out that we do have the Office of Economic Development has put out some funds that are available for small businesses, particularly those who are being impacted by encampments and the homeless challenges that we're facing right now. So they have put those out, and I think their application is closing fairly soon. We did share that information, I believe, with HSSA before, but just wanted to call that out and remind you to share that information with your networks as well. And then pictured here is our quarterly homeless advisory meeting that we held on December 8th. It was a packed room. We've moved it to the Blair Caldwell Library, which is a really great location. It's a lot more intimate so that we can hear each other better than in a gymnasium. And it was a packed house. We had probably 80 people there at least. Most of whom are people who are currently experiencing homelessness. We saw a lot of migrants this time, which was new for us. And we had some really touching testimony. It was the first time the mayor has ever attended that meeting. And so that was really exciting. Any mayor has ever attended that meeting. So that was really exciting for the folks who were there. And we had some really touching moments like the one pictured here where some of the folks who have recently been moved inside to these new shelter facilities were able to talk about how life-changing that has been. And this is one of the women giving the mayor a hug for all the efforts that we've been undertaking lately. So it was really, really wonderful. Also, yesterday we had the Ruby Vista groundbreaking, which was really exciting news, and we have more groundbreakings coming up. So just lots of work on both our homelessness resolution side of the house, as well as our housing opportunity. And we also, I want to note here, are getting ready to reopen the TRUA application. We'll be sending you more information about that. But as some of you know, rent and utility assistance has been closed for a little while now because we were out of funds for the year. With the new budget going in place for 2024, we will be reopening TRUA applications on January 2nd, and it's going to be really exciting because we have a new online portal for people to be able to do that. And they'll be able to actually check their status of their application anytime they want to. So real excited about that system, and we'll get you more information on that in the new year. With that, we'll go ahead and move on, and we're going to introduce Polly to go ahead and walk you through where we're at with the final version of our 2024 action plan.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be with you as always. Again, I'm Polly Kyle. I'm a housing policy officer with the Department of Housing Stability, and I'm very excited to present our final 2024 action plan. So first, I just wanted to highlight the 10 key priorities that are across the pillars of our work. We will bring in an additional 1,000 people out of unsheltered homelessness through the House 1,000 initiative in 2024. We're going to serve 3,500 households experiencing homelessness and rehousing and supportive housing programs. We're going to create over 1,700 affordable homes and invest in the affordable housing pipeline. We're going to work on the effective implementation of Denver's mandatory affordable housing ordinance and contribute towards Denver's citywide goal of creating and preserving 3,000 affordable units. We will be serving more than 9,300 households in stability programs. I believe we actually need to update this number for our new allotment, which is a theme you will find of the 2024 final action plan. We are working with October budget book numbers. We do not yet have final budget book, but that will be coming out in early, I think, January of 2024. So we will revise the action plan at that time to make sure all of our numbers are aligned. But we did want to acknowledge the additional funds for rent and utility assistance because it was such a large sum to come in later in the process. And then we also will update the Affordable Housing Preservation Ordinance to align with long-term affordability goals and priorities for those preservation funds. Next slide. We have the next 5. So we're looking to expand that AHEART team who came and spoke to us a few meetings ago at this point to ensure efficient consideration and review of affordable housing projects to reduce permitting times. We're going to expand the supportive housing pipeline by working with partners to maximize the effectiveness of housing choice vouchers, including city-funded project-based vouchers. We're prioritizing language access and culturally appropriate messaging. And we're developing and implementing engagement strategies that go beyond just city council and registered neighborhood organizations, where we're really going to focus on that two-way communication with more intentional listening in coordination with citywide outreach and engagement efforts. And then we're going to be utilizing the new affordable housing search website and database to complete the implementation of the prioritization program. Next slide. So we did quite a bit of community engagement and feedback. In early May, we did a survey that got over 240 responses, and that really helped shape the overall priorities of the plan. We had engagement with you all here at the Housing Stability Strategic Advisors. We also had a public comment period with the more final action plan with a community-wide survey. And we held a virtual public meeting on November 16th of this year, where we also took feedback as well. And just some of what we heard, we heard that there was a need to increase options for stabilizing unsheltered individuals prior to being housed. So thinking of non-congregate shelter, congregate shelter, micro communities. We heard that we need more housing from 0 to 30% of AMI, including supportive housing. We heard that we need more mental and behavioral health and substance misuse treatment options that go in coordination with housing. And we also heard that we should be prioritizing eviction defense funding to really look at upstream solutions and try to keep people in their homes. Some more feedback that we heard, we did hear about House 1000. We just general feedback, some frustrations from community members, but also praise from community members about the efforts that we are moving forward with. We heard that we need more funding for the Denver Basic Income Project. We also heard that we heard about Prop 123 feedback and that we should think about reworking our goals for housing opportunity as well as homelessness resolution, talking about the goals we have in household served and those pieces. We heard that we need to focus more on workforce housing. And then we also heard we want more cross-departmental coordination as well. Next slide. Awesome. And just to highlight, we did respond to all those concerns. Our top, the folks that we heard the most from, the topics we heard the most from in a community engagement section that we added to the final action plan, where we dive into some of those topics. So for 2024, these are our projected expenditures. So again, just want to highlight that this figure is based on the October budget book, which included the $15.3 million for rent and utility assistance. We will revise the action plan to consistently reflect the final budget in Q1 of 2024. But you can see here how we plan to spend the $247 million in affordable housing and homelessness resolution investments. They're supported through several funding sources, yeah, have a lot coming from the general fund. We do have a lot still coming from the COVID response and recovery funds there. So we'll pop over to the next slide. So planned expenditures by pillar and revenue source. So you can see the total budget over there on the left side of your screen. You have the homelessness resolution fund, the affordable housing fund, and then the general fund, federal grants, and other funds, kind of our hodgepodge group of funds there. And you see how it's broken out amongst our pillars across hosts. The operations being at the top in green, homelessness resolution in purple, housing stability in blue, housing opportunity with the DHA payment for D3 is in orange, and then housing opportunity is there in yellow. And then this is our planned expenditures by investment type and revenue source. So again, the total budget at the top, Homelessness Resolution Fund, Affordable Housing Fund, and then the general fund, federal funds, and other funds. And again, the colors marked there, but unit development and preservation, that's host direct investment in yellow, and then the DHA payment for D3 is in orange. Our housing assistance is that in blue, shelter and services, purple, and administration in green. And Jennifer, I thought, did you want to jump in? Okay, sorry. Great. So that's a quick rundown of kind of the things that have changed from previous iterations of the action plan that we've brought to you, and we would be happy to answer some questions. Yeah, Mark.
Yes, thanks. When I look at the Affordable Housing Fund there, and I see it all under one, kind of in one tranche there around the new construction and preservation here, the development and preservation. Has there been any further detail around how that might break down? Because, you know, I look across our portfolio. One thing I know is we got to create more units, and there's got to be a lot of funding that is being directed toward that creation. But also, we got to maintain the ones we have. And, you know, I look across our portfolio, which even with the new developments we've done, it still averages about 40 years per development here. And we're getting some reinvestment funds on some of them, but wanted to know if there's some thought around that breakdown in development versus, and it doesn't have to be versus, I guess. We don't want to have and preservation.
Yeah, we don't want them to fight each other. But yeah, we have we in the action plan, we have our unit targets that we're planning to reach in 2024. And we've got their rental homes created, 565, which we then break down into deeply affordable in 3 or more bedroom as some of our priority areas of creation. And then as rental homes preserved, we have 325 homes, rental homes preserved. The for sale homes created, we have 110, and the for sale homes preserved is 92. And we are also expecting 223 units of supportive housing, as well as 450 units through the mandatory ordinance, mandatory affordable housing, EHA.
All right, Cal. Thanks for that detail, Paul.
Yeah.
Any other questions anyone has? All right. Well, seeing none. Polly, do you want to do this slide, or Jenny?
Yeah, whoever. Polly, do you want to do the action?
Sure. So
or I can do it. I've got the list. Okay, so we need to move for a vote to adopt the 2024 action plan as presented by the host staff. So I need a motion to approve the plan.
So moved.
Okay, and a second.
I'll second.
Second. Oh, Melanie, you can take
Kristen. It was Kristen.
Okay, everyone in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, and do we need a roll call on this? We don't, do we?
One thing, Jenny, I am going to abstain just for the record.
Okay, and one
in case
abstention.
Yeah, one abstention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Sabrina, are we good, or do we need to take a roll call?
No, I think we're fine.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you, host team. I know it's been a lot, putting the plan together with some leadership changes. And I know I'm really looking forward to digging in 2024 on the work with you, Jamie, and the team, and seeing what we can get accomplished together. So thank you. Okay, so
Well,
we have
thank you.
our Sabrina. Yeah, great.
I can kick off the, I did want to just, we wanted to present the 2024 HSSA meeting schedule for you. These are the proposed meetings for next year. It's the same cadence that we had this year with every other month, which is required by your bylaws. We scheduling for the third Friday from 10 to 11:30 a.m., consistent with what we've been doing. So looking at the same topics that we did essentially this year, but the 2024 introduction from our new executive director, updates on our House 1,000 initiative and how that's intersecting with host work. And then the rest of the year is very similar to what we did this year, where we'll do a dashboard overview and make update you on the progress that was made in 2023. And then May 17th, we'll look at our action plan priorities and talk about our community engagement plans again, trying to make sure we're getting that engagement on the front end before we've drafted the plan so that it's really informing the work. July, we'll look at our action plan priorities and finalize those with you before drafting, and talk about any budget recommendations that are coming. And then in September, we will ideally have the mayor's proposed 2025 budget and talk about how that intersects with our draft action plan for you guys to vote on in November. So, and just a note to say that we would have normally met in November and voted on this then, but we had some additional review and changes that we wanted to make to the action plan to make sure that it's consistent with the new budget and the mayoral priorities and House 1,000 and all of that. So thank you for bearing with us through that delay in getting the final plan to you. And we're really excited to be able to publish that today. So we'll have that up online and we'll be sending out a notice that it's been finalized for folks. So any questions about the 2024 meeting schedule? Can you believe it's almost 2024? Crazy, right? Well, with that, that's all we have for you today. So we'll go ahead and stop sharing. Your meeting schedule will be published on the HSSA webpage that we have for host, where public can also join our meetings. So please feel free to point people to that page if they have questions. And otherwise, we wish you all happy holidays. Hope you're getting some time for rest and relaxation. And we will see you in the new year.
Yeah. Happy holidays, everybody. And thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays. Thanks. Goodbye.